almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
I don't even think this is one I think that universally most of the population today would agree, yes, it absolutely is. And it's not just the youth. I mean, technology is reshaping the way the world is ran in so many different ways, it's not even funny. And before, though, we get into this topic, because I have a lot of very interesting things to bring up about this topic, there's a few announcements I want to make. As always, big shout out to our sponsors over at Prima. Join the fight against fake food. Prima protein bars, absolutely excellent. I love them. I personally eat them all the time. They actually just came out with a new and improved protein bar too that's even better than their original formula that they have. But I don't see nothing wrong with the bars they have now. They're not chalky, they're not nasty. They have no seed oils, no garbage ingredients, so definitely go check out the people over at Prima. Use the link in the comments and you guys will get a special discount, so definitely check them out. Best protein bars on the planet. So shout out to our sponsors over at Prima. Also, next Thursday, there is going to be the OG of conspiracy, as I call him, Tommy Truthful from Tommy Truthful TV over at Truth Mafia. He will be on the show next Thursday. We're going to be doing a discussion about multiple different topics, but that's going to be an awesome show to be on the lookout for. So next Thursday, I'll be posting it. We're going to be doing a lot of podcasts later on in the evening. Sometimes I'm going to kind of switch up the times. And then, like I had explained on, I think I did a picture or I did a reel about it. So pretty much what's happening is the show's going to be every other day now, because we're going to start doing some more in the street type of stuff, going and interviewing people about conspiracies. We're going to be investigating stuff on site. So it's going to be very interesting, the new things that we're going to be bringing on, a new segment to the show. So much goes into research for just even the podcast shows, and for doing this new segment, we decided to do the show every other day. We thought it would be a lot easier to run it that way. So the podcast will now be every other day, and then we're probably going to switch it. I mean, depending on the schedule, I might run the show in the morning, or do the show in the morning. I might do it at night. It just depends on how my schedule works. But yeah, bringing this new series into play is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very interesting. So think of it like conspiracy in the streets. Okay, we're going full on journalism in the streets to find out what's going on with a lot of these things. So if the story's about a certain place, we're going to try to go there and do it hands-on, face-to-face right there. So it's going to be a great new segment that's coming to the podcast that I think you guys are going to enjoy a lot. So yeah, like I said, podcast will be every other day going forward. So, but without further to do or explain, let's get started with today's subject. Now, the thing is with this is, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what, or a psychiatrist or a mental health professional to see the effect that technology is having on the kids of this generation. Okay. And I'm going to start out with this and see, this story is over a decade old. Okay. And you can just tell by the framing of the story. So a teen kills his parents, he admits, over taking his iPod. That's like absolute insanity. And the thing is, this is not just some isolated incident that happened. If you look into these types of stories, they're all over the place. There's kids that are ending up hospitalized, psychiatric units. There's all types of stuff that's happening to the youth because of devices being taken away. It's what has happened with the technology. It's fueled a type of dopamine spike in a way that it's literally became a drug. And see, like I said, this is not just going towards the youth of the nations around the world. This goes to everybody. I mean, how many adults do you guys know that doom scroll all day online? I mean, adults, we're guilty of it ourselves. So it's definitely not something that's just, towards the youth. But I believe the people that are older, we know how to have it under control a little bit more, because me personally, unless I have to be on my phone recording content or posting content, I've gotten away from my phone a lot more lately. I would rather be out in nature personally than be on my phone. And I'm the type that it's, with filming the show so much and being in the studio a lot and focusing on the show more in the recent months, it's been harder to get out and just kind of live life. But I'm doing it more and more, often nowadays. So for me, like I said, I really don't care. Like if I don't have my phone, I just keep it moving. But I've seen the difference between when you take tablets and devices and stuff away from kids and the night and day, like, reaction from them, the way they are when they have the devices all the time versus how they are once you take the devices away. That it's like a different person comes out. Now, what I found was interesting, I had a discussion with a very good psychiatrist the other day that was talking to me about this type of thing. We were discussing, that's why I wanted to do a show about it. So I was talking to a doctor the other day. I'll run you guys a clip of this to show you what he was saying about. He was saying that he's seen children going to psychiatric hospitals swallowing whole bottles of Tylenol because they get their phones taken away or devices and stuff. He's seen some really crazy stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and run just a clip of this phone call. I'm not going to name the doctor's name. I told him I wouldn't. So I'm just going to run a snippet of the phone call I had with him about this topic.
The devices, as you know, even as grown-ups, I mean, we look at these things 300 times a day. Kids have no self-regulation, or much less than we do, and they're very addicted to these things.
But yeah, you can see, I mean, this isn't something that's, conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy. It's not even a conspiracy. It's at this point, it's fact. Before it was kind of, we don't know the effect that technology or any type of thing, they can have vaccines or whatever it is. Things take time to formulate over time to show the real effect that they're going to have on society, okay, on our health, mental health, physical health, all kinds of different things. So these things have to be studied over a period of time, and it's usually a long period of time. So based on what the professionals are saying, that alone should tell people that, they're seeing it more than we are, even because they're seeing kids becoming hospitalized because of it, which is when I think it really needs to be taken serious. But the question we have to ask ourselves is, are we too far gone? Is society too far gone? Because according to a lot of people that are in the AI industry, that deal with running these algorithms, that they make sure that your kids stay on these platforms, it's only getting worse. Now, me, for example, like, look at me. I'm sitting here, of course, wanting you guys to watch my show and sit there and listen to what I'm saying. So, of course, I'm wanting to retain your attention. But see, I believe it's different in a sense, though, because like they say, be careful what you allow into your head and what you listen to, because it really does affect your quality of life. It absolutely affects the quality of your life. So it's like we, even as adults, we're not out of the equation when it comes to, we have to watch what we take in. Do you see what I'm saying? Because mental health matters for everybody. It's not just, honestly, the way they have the adults working like crazy, okay? Working jobs they hate, like Brad Pitt would say, working jobs they hate to buy shit they don't need. Tyler Durden from Fight Club said that. And I really think back to that because it's the truth. Sometimes people work themselves into the grave to just buy a bunch of shit that they really don't need. And it's sad. So when people are at work or they're anywhere, they're sitting there like this. And they're not realizing, like, Mark Zuckerberg had to do a whole, they were talking at a Senate committee hearing about does he understand the effects of what social media is doing on the brain through these neurological studies of what is this actually doing to people and what is going to be the effect in the future of what it's going to do to people? It's just becoming more and more immersive. People are becoming more and more attached to not just their devices, but the technology inside of those devices. They're relying on them more and more. They're becoming more and more attached to them in a way that we've never seen people attached to technology in history. That's when it becomes troubling, because we have to look at it and say, you know, what happens when this technology goes out? What if that's really what it is? It's a trap to lure everybody in, so when they take it away, people lose their minds. Like the video I did the other day, or the reel was talking about how Iran said that if Trump bombs Iran, they're going to cut the internet cables in the ocean. So I could only imagine if they took out not just the electric, but say they took out the internet. I remember when the internet shut off for a day over at my house, man. You know something was up, because like 2 kids come out of each room, like, what's going on? What's going on? Like, that internet could be out for 5 seconds, man. They see that quick. They know when that internet's out. But us as you know, humans with technology having first world problems, we all see that right away. When the internet goes out and you're like, oh shoot. You know, and everybody's talking about it. Like, if Facebook, even if just Facebook or an app goes down for a day, it'll be all everybody's talking about for the next couple of days is the outage that happened. So you can only imagine like a huge outage, you know, what that'll be or do to people's brains. Because, see, it's like they framed connection. Like Mark Zuckerberg was like, connection, man. We all need to be more connected every single day. Okay. But maybe the connection that he's speaking of is not the one that's actually good for the spirit. The connection that we need is actual human connection, because it's just a bunch of people connecting through these apps and through these devices and through these different systems that are all just essentially artificial, to the point people rely on them, to the point, like I said, like you see kids killing their parents over a freaking iPod or over, you know, getting their laptop or their phone or whatever taken away. So when you start seeing things like that happen, and I mean, that's a red flag you can't ignore. But the fact that now you have essentially, they're making robots, saying robots to replace all of us. People are going to get their checks for whatever, you know, to just not have to do anything, that's insane. So you're just going to have a bunch of, you know, doom scrolling zombies sitting there just going off on their phones. Like, that's pretty scary when you think about it. Like, is that what our future is looking like? It's just a bunch of people doom scrolling forever on their phones. That's a scary, like, you might as well be plugged into the Matrix fully at that point. If we're all just going to sit around completely stuck in our phones and there's no more human interaction, there's no more talking, children ain't talking to their parents, parents ain't talking to their kids, and everybody's just locked in. And now AI is like the brain of the world. The hive mind that's just feeding this sick addiction that everybody has to these devices that we have in our hands, that we think has the answers to everything. And that's what I was even saying earlier. Like, I made the reel about saying, you know, all people do, I see these people all the time, like they're online begging, like, oh man, my life is so screwed up right now. I got started a GoFundMe or something. It's like, man, if you're able-bodied to get out there and work, get out there and work. Okay, you can work with this. This can make you money. Okay, and you don't have to be that smart. You have the knowledge of the world right here in your hand, and you choose to just watch stupid videos with it, or make videos that are gonna, you know, essentially beg for people to give you money. That's really like sad when you think about it, because you could use it to film, you know, motivational content or film some type of content that would make you some money. But no, instead you use it to beg for money. I mean, that's sad. The world's in a sad place right now, all around. From the technology to the way it's affecting people, the way it's affecting relationships. All around, the world is in big trouble right now with the way it's heading with technology. And see, I don't believe that the corporations are being held accountable enough for all of it. Because they know what it is. If you think that these people don't have people in labs that are, letting them know, hey, the A is going to lead to B, that's going to lead to C, and going to cause D. If you think they don't have, causation, if they don't understand what's going to happen because of all this, you're highly underestimating the amount of money these people put in research alone. Trust me, they know what technology is doing, and they don't care because they make too much money off of it. A lot of these people, well, I would say most people got a price. You give a lot of people, you wouldn't believe what a lot of people would do for $1 million. Think about it. There's people who do some crazy stuff for just $1 million. So you imagine they're giving these people $100 million or however many dollars, Zuckerberg's and all these types of people. Zuckerberg officially created what DARPA and everybody from all 3-letter agencies wish they could have created with Facebook, to get you to give them your location all the time, what you're doing, where you're at, how you're feeling. It knows more about you than your best friend or even you know about you. It could give you a better readout. Even AI now knows more about you if you talk to it all the time than your best friend, or like I said, family members or anything knows about you. So it's just, but what I believe is there's a flip side to that coin. Okay, and I'm going to tell you how there's a flip side to that coin. As long as something is not inherently evil, like a cell phone's not inherently evil, okay? A cell phone can help you stay connected with somebody that, for example, is in your family that's lonely, so you can talk to them, or else what would you do? You want to be able to pick up a phone, call them, or FaceTime them. It can be used for good, absolutely. So it's not to forget that. That's the flip side of the coin, is I believe. We can flip it for good, and the way we do that is not just using it for good, like spreading the gospel, okay? Reaching out to people that actually are spiritually in need. And like I said, I made that reel earlier about people begging. That's for people that are able-bodied. I'm not talking about not giving to people. Like, God loves a cheerful giver. So absolutely, like I said, it gives you the ability to reach out to people that may need help, that are disabled, or they can't work and they need help. Absolutely. It gives you the ability. I mean, there's guys that go out there creating content about feeding the homeless that actually feeds the homeless, because what he brings in through the content creation, it makes money and he can feed the homeless. So that's amazing. Like, that's great when people can do that. So that's the flip side to the coin that people need to understand is, see, we can use this technology for good, but that's what we need to do. We need to flip that coin around, and God can use anything for good as long as it's not inherently evil. He can use it for good. So we should use it to keep each other informed. That's why I have this show. Like I said, first and foremost, spreading the gospel, but keeping people connected. You can spread love. You don't have to spread hate. We can use this to spread love to people and understanding and helping people to know God. So it doesn't have to be used for bad. But right now, we're not setting boundaries on what we're allowing into our life and what we're consuming on these devices. That's the biggest issue. And that's the issue I think needs to be addressed. That's where we all start to structure things differently. We say, okay, you know what? From now on, like I stop myself from doom scrolling sometimes. Like, what am I doing? I could be doing something better, or out, having some type of purpose, but I'm over here just screwing around on my phone. I could be doing something more productive, that's going to make a difference of some sort. Even if it's just around my house for the day, a difference, some kind of difference. We were way more connected to nature, to people back then. So that's just what it is. Use it to connect with people in a good way, but use it, flip it around. Use it to communicate good to the world. Use it to help people find Christ, because we are in the darkest days we've ever been. So that's what we need to be focusing on. is that's how you win the war against technology, is flipping it around to be used for good. And God can make it happen, but it's up to us, because we have free will, to make it happen.